Dude, all I hear in the background right now is fireworks. People are going nuts.
Really?
Yeah.
There's nobody here doing them.
Dude, start it off. Let
Come
her
on, dude.
rip.
It's not even live.
It says we are.
Uh, oh,
Do you ever regret your life choices? Yeah, often.
why won't it show up though? Like it kind of shows it, but not really.
I've made good life choices and bad life choices.
I've made only decent life choices.
Dude, I've seen you cannonball into a
Oh, there you
hotel
go.
bed and snap it in half.
Yeah, dude.
That was one of your good choices, actually.
Yeah, that was like a halfway decent choice. It was like borderline.
That was a fair
uh,
choice.
yeah, it's like borderline. Like I don't know if that's a good choice, but it was kind of a good choice.
It was kind of a good choice.
All right, welcome in episode 4. About that action. Happy 4th of July, everybody. Another hot as fuck day in Northern California. We
Dude, it
got
was
Dub.
scorching.
Yeah, we got Dubs here.
And I'm Tith. You can call me Matt or Tith. And we're here to turn up.
Yeah, took a 1-week hiatus last week. Any followers? Which obviously we have 1,300.
Yeah, dude, you're killing it.
TikTok. Yeah, took a 1-week hiatus. I took a trip up to the Pacific Northwest, which was interesting.
How was that, dude?
It was fun. I rented a camper and towed it all the way through Oregon and Washington.
You had the Airstream, right?
We had the Airstream.
Nice.
The Airstream, she pulled well.
Dude, better than Helga up the hills?
Yeah, better than Helga up the hills.
Nice.
Our Explorer did awesome. It's such a beast.
That eco boost.
Yeah, such a beast. It makes you. One thing you notice is, California isn't so bad to live in. I think there's parts of Oregon and Washington that are cool and probably nicer, but there's also other parts that are very gross.
Yeah.
And like no development, no anything going on.
Or when you drive through Tacoma, Washington.
Yeah, all of central Washington and central Oregon is high desert, and it's the most boring drive ever.
Yeah, honest. It's just flat and ugly. You gotta be on the coast or in the forest where it's hella pretty.
Honestly, the best landscape you can drive across is the Oregon-Washington border and the Columbia Gorge. It's just insane.
Yeah, it's awesome. That's such a cool drive. I've done it a few times, but every time it never gets old.
No, like that whole stretch is incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It looks like something out of a movie. I mean, it's awesome.
Dude, most important question of the night. What are you drinking?
Sticking with the Pacific Northwest, I got some Deschutes.
Oh, there you go. Fresh IPA?
Yeah, fresh squeezed IPA.
It sounds refreshing. I'm rocking a Jackrabbit Peach Pale Ale.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty good.
And Lagunitas shirt.
I went and got these at, what's that place called? Total Wine and More?
Yeah, Total Wine's good.
Yeah, good selection.
So yeah, another week of off-the-wall sports takes, sketchy financial advice, and general talking shit. We'll jump right into it, starting with the NHL Stanley Cup Finals, which we missed talking about, but the Panthers took it down in Game 7. Kind of like one of those championships like it's been this year so far with every team where it's like, oh, they won and then they're forgotten. Similar to the Michigan win in college football and, similar to the basketball win with the Celtics. It's just like, who the fuck cares? No big stories after they won. But takeaways from the game, I thought it was an incredible Game 7. Panthers jumped out, got the lead, and really the Oilers did everything they could to get back in that game. They just couldn't.
Yeah, no, honestly, that game had me on the edge of my seat. I was obviously rooting for the Oilers. I think a lot of people were, unless you live in Florida. But yeah, that was such a crazy game seven. I think McDavid was doing literally everything humanly possible to get that game tied up, but it just did not happen. And
Yeah, that
unfortunately, the Panthers walked away with it.
that third period was insane. I mean, really, from the time it started to the time it ended, the pressure
Oh, it was
was
relentless, dude.
was unbelievable. I mean, it was just amazing they didn't score any goals. I
I
mean,
didn't realize there was a guest and thought you were just a really good ventriloquist.
yeah, I was kind of bummed. I think McDavid, I don't think came out in the third period, maybe for a couple minutes. But dude, he played incredible in the last period. The whole team did.
Yeah, they were just putting on like unbelievable pressure. I
Mm.
was so surprised that really hats off to Bobrovsky for holding down the fort
Yeah,
because I think a lot of goalies would have buckled under that much pressure. It was just it was insane.
yeah, he made a lot of good saves,
Yeah, he
a
was
lot of
well
timely
played.
saves. Yeah. So going into the off season, I mean, we'll spend 2 minutes like everybody else has. Championship for South Florida. Um, Going into the off season, the NHL draft happened. Some off season moves that I don't know shit about, but uh,
Big day for
you're
the
resident,
Sharks.
you're
Big
resident
day for the
NHL
Sharks.
expert.
So we had the first overall pick, which I think is only like the second time in history that the Sharks have had the first overall pick. Um,
Wow.
yeah, and they picked Macklin Celebrini, and this kid is insane, dude. So they've been having the rookie development camp all week, and just some of like the videos you see of him practicing and doing some of the drills and stuff. It's insane how much more he stands out than the other players. And I'm talking like other players that are really good, like Will Smith and like Musty and like some of the other high draft picks that we've had over the last couple of years, Bysted and like Celebrini just makes them look like cones. Like it's insane how much faster and just like it almost looks like McDavid when he's on the ice with other people.
Wow.
So I think the Sharks got a steal getting that kid. I mean, obviously he was the first overall pick, but winning the lottery was huge for this draft in particular because I think he's going to be a pretty good player moving forward. And then they also, which is crazy, so they actually moved up in the draft. They were 1-13, I think, and they moved up to 9. And they were able to get Sam Dickinson, who some scouts had him ranked as the second best player in the entire draft. So it's pretty crazy. He's like a stay-at-home defenseman type of guy, big 6'4", 18-year-old kid. But he's got incredible skating for a guy his size, and he's got a lot of offensive upside. So the Sharks kind of killed it this year in the draft.
What do you think the timetable is turnaround for the Sharks?
I think we're going to see a huge improvement this year from what we saw last year. Like, there's no way they're going to be the worst team in the league. But that's only if a lot of these young guys actually play this year. They might want them to stay in the development leagues for another year just to get another good draft pick and then bring them all up, at one time in 2026. So we'll see. But I think we're probably like a 3-year window before they're starting to compete pretty good. Maybe start itching at the playoff spots.
Yeah, and it was the draft was held at the Vegas Sphere, which was cool.
That was hella cool. Yeah, it was fun to watch.
Cool event. I could see the NFL draft being held there every year now.
I feel like almost every draft should be held there.
Yeah.
It was pretty nuts.
Yeah. So we got a long time to wait until the NFL season picks up. I think, or NHL season picks up. Did the Sharks have their their futures game already?
Their prospect game?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. That was on the 4th of July.
Yeah, I saw highlights from
it was
something.
A super high scoring game too. It was like 7-6 or something crazy, and there was like a huge comeback. Like one of the teams was losing like 7-4, and they ended up tying it, and they went to a shootout. But yeah, it was pretty cool. I watched the whole thing. Once again, Celebrini, he just looks like a different level than all the other guys out there. I think he had like a goal and like 2 assists.
Oh,
Um, and then Musty, who was a first round draft pick last year, who kind of slid to the Sharks late in the draft. He was projected to go a lot higher than he went. He looks hella good. So he was kind of tearing it up also in a different way. He's a bigger player, so he's not as like flashy and agile. But he's just he's has such a nasty shot, and he's very smooth with his skating. So he kind of stood out yesterday as well. And I think the two of those guys together is going to be nuts. So it's looking good for the Sharks, dude. Their prospects are looking really good right now.
nice. I don't have any other news for the Blue Jackets or anybody else because as soon as Stanley Cup Finals ends, I'm done.
That's it. That's a
See ya.
wrap.
See you till next year. And,
Yeah.
you know, and we got to look at fantasy leagues, which is tough.
I'm starting to
tough.
slip on the hockey fantasy, man. I just
Yeah.
don't have a grasp on the league like I used to.
That's a tough ask because there's so many players.
It's a lot to follow.
It's, you know, and you really win or lose by your lower tier players. So
Exactly. The
That's
more
tough.
knowledge you have and the more depth on each team's roster, the better you are.
yeah, that's tough. So moving on to the other sport that just ended, the NBA. The NBA last week and the week before, big free agency news to announce the NBA draft happened, which, you know, we could touch on the draft when we get there. Some weird players taken. But I'll start with some of the free agency moves. Probably the biggest news is Paul George to the Sixers.
Which is heartbreaking.
Kind of, yeah. I mean,
There was
they
so
kind
much
of,
smoke around him coming to the Warriors. I was kind of pumped about it.
yeah, they were talking about him going to the Cavs too. Honestly,
That would be
the
that actually would have been a better move for him, I think.
Warriors seemed like a fit for him. You know what I mean? Like that
Yeah.
was like kind
Well,
of,
especially with Clay gone, he could just come right into that role perfectly.
yeah. Joel Embiid hinted at it in an interview when he was like a couple months ago, where he's like looking out and he's like, "Oh, we need to sign some free agents." So he kind of knew it was coming with the Sixers. I don't know. I mean, Paul George has just underperformed since he's left Indiana. Went to OKC, underperformed. Went to LA, underperformed.
I mean, he'll have his big games, but yeah, I think overall it's
Yeah,
subpar.
it's like he won more when he was the guy, and he didn't have every elite talent around him. But when he's going to play with everybody else, he kind of, you know, he just hasn't got it done. He's kind of
I
choked a
agree
little
with
bit.
that. There's also a lot of talks right now about the Warriors going after Lauri Markkanen.
Oh, that'd be big.
Yeah, so
Um,
they've actually sent over a trade package already. We'll hear soon if the Jazz are going to make a move on it.
I was hoping. I mean, obviously, Laura Markkanen played for the Cavs, and then got traded with the Donovan Mitchell. They were talking about the Cavs going after Lauri Markkanen to bring him back,
Bring him back. Yeah, I think a lot of teams are going after him.
which I was kind of bummed that they let him go because we
He's
had that
hella good.
lineup of Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, and Lauri Markkanen, which was basically three
Just
7-foot
three centers, basically.
that were just
Just
lights
gross,
out.
like ultimate defense.
Yeah. Just sticking with the Cavs, they re-signed Donovan Mitchell, which is kind of huge news.
That was big. Because we were talking about that last week or last episode.
Yeah, I thought he was gone, to be honest. I thought
they
he
would
was-
keep him. I mean, he's so good and still young.
they was going to go to New York or some higher market team. He kind of seems like that kind of guy. But they got a deal done, and even he released a statement afterwards. He's like, I told you guys I wasn't going anywhere. I don't know why nobody believed me, but, you know, I like it here.
He
I want to
was
stay
about
here
it.
long term. And yeah, he's like, I love it in Cleveland, which is huge because it always felt like he had 1 foot out the door the entire time he's been here.
So you get a little bit of reassurance now.
Yeah, they just got to make some moves. They don't. I mean, they obviously can't win with what they have. They showed it. Unless Evan Mobley takes a huge jump, Jared Allen stays healthy, Darius Garland gets his head out of his ass. I mean, they're going to be in the same boat where they're going to lose to the Knicks or they're going to lose to the Celtics.
Yeah, they need a little bit more firepower on that team.
Yeah, they need something. I don't know what it is, but they need to sign somebody.
Yeah.
And a Laurie Markkinen would be huge. There's some trade things that have been going through with them that they've been talking about.
There's a little bit of a smaller signing too that the Warriors did that I think is actually a pretty big impact move, even though the guy isn't like a huge name. But they signed Buddy Hield,
Yeah.
and I think having that kind of player on the team and just having that like defensive point guard, to play some like clutch minutes off the bench when Curry's tired and we just need to lock things down until the number ones can come back out on the court. I think that's huge. I think that'll show a lot
Yes.
too.
So Buddy Hield didn't play at all last year. I don't know who he played for. I think Indiana or something like
I think
that.
he was on Milwaukee.
Maybe Milwaukee. I don't know. He didn't play at all. And before that, he was pretty good. Like he shot the lights out for Sacramento. It's just kind of weird, but he kind of took the spot. He's going to take the spot of Clay. I mean, Clay last year. I mean, obviously the big news for the Bay Area is Clay's leaving the Warriors and going to the Mavericks, which is heartbreaking probably for a lot of Warriors fans because he's been there for so damn long and brought him championships and Game 6 Clay and big shots, comeback Clay. Really, he's never been the same since he tore his ACL in the finals. But he kind of was like that, got drafted by the Warriors. He's kind of been the heart and soul of the Warriors along with Steph and Draymond, and he's gone. So it's kind of like the end of an era for the Warriors, and they needed somebody to take that role, and I think Buddy Hield kind of fits it perfectly with where he's at.
I agree. Yeah, it's gonna be a nice roster filling with Buddy Hield, but I do think that they still need to get a little bit more firepower, like a Markkinen or someone like a Paul George. That would have been nice because Buddy Hield is good, but not in that way.
Yeah, it's interesting where the Warriors are now and where the Cavs are. Obviously, we had those 4 years where it was Braun versus Steph, and then KD came in and blah blah blah. But the rebuild after that, the Warriors kept going. Obviously, they won another championship,
they're hanging on to their old heads.
And they're hanging on for dear life.
Yeah, they're just
those
hanging
players
on by a thread right now.
Whereas the Cavs have rebuilt.
Are we talking about hacky? No, we're talking about basketball. Do you work with crypto? I have a lot of crypto. I invest in crypto. We'll probably talk about crypto later. How do you spell it? But yeah, man, I don't know. There's a lot of moves left. I think there's a lot of trade talks still, circling around the NBA. So we'll see what happens. But I don't think that the Warriors are done, and the Cavs are probably not done yet either.
Yeah, the other person that's a free agent, which would be huge, which I could see the Warriors signing, is DeMar DeRozan.
That would be huge.
That would be massive, and I could totally see him going to Golden State.
Yeah.
He basically is done with the Bulls. The Bulls freaking traded Alex Caruso for Josh Giddey, and he was just done. So he's basically said trade me or whatever. So they're talking about a sign and trade with the Kings right now.
That'd be nasty too if he went to the Kings. The Kings are good.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't really know who else. I know LeBron signed.
Well, that's kind of a cool little story that during the NBA draft, Bronny went to the Lakers.
Yeah.
So is that the first ever son-father duo in the NBA?
Yeah, first ever.
That's pretty cool. It'll be fun to watch that next year.
Which is interesting because it's happened in baseball a couple times, but I guess the longevity of baseball is way more than it is in basketball or football.
Yeah, like I said, you could play till you're 70.
Yeah, but it's. I mean, there's a lot of talk about did Bronny deserve to get drafted? Did he only get drafted by the Lakers because his dad's there?
That's probably a little bit true.
I think it's true.
Yeah.
Bronny averaged 4 points at USC. He barely played.
I mean, isn't he like pretty undersized? He's like
Yeah, he's like
6'4".
6'4".
Yeah.
He's a 6'4" point guard though, so I mean he's athletic. He's got the genes. I think he got drafted on his genes. I think he got drafted because LeBron's there. I think LeBron's like draft this kid, draft this kid, draft this kid. Um, because he wants to play with them.
Yeah.
So I think LeBron had a big influence. I think if LeBron wasn't in the NBA, Bronny wouldn't have got drafted. I think he would have went undrafted,
I
and
agree with that.
I think he would have been signed somewhere else. So I think he'll still find a role. I think he'll still do well because I think he's probably a hard worker, and LeBron's not a hey, I'm going to give my kid everything and pave the way for him. He's got to work for it.
Well, yeah, mindset and mentality is everything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's got the athletic genes, and obviously his dad has the I'm going to be the best in the world mindset.
Yeah.
So if he can just get a little bit of that, I mean, he'll at least be a serviceable player.
Yeah, the NBA draft overall was interesting. There was the top two players off the board were both from France.
Which is so weird.
Last year's number one overall pick was from France. So that's really interesting. And then the number 6 player taken was from France, and the number 25 player taken was from France. So I just like
that French league is coming up, man.
It's just kind of weird to me. Like
odd.
I've heard of Alex Sarr before. Like his name's been thrown around, but the guy that got taken first was Satcher. I've never heard of him before. No idea who that is.
Yeah, I had no idea.
And then Reed Shepard got taken. Stephon Castle from UConn got taken 4th, who's a beast.
He was the one I thought was going to go first.
And then
Stephon Castle is the guy that everyone was talking about before the draft started, and he was a beast.
Yeah, he almost stayed with UConn because they won a national championship. Yeah, and then another UConn player got taken to 7. Klingham, their big man, got taken. Zach Edey was another notable pick at 9, 7'4", big man from Purdue.
7'4"?
Yeah, he's a big dude.
Holy shit!
He's a big dude. He's a good player too.
That's crazy.
He plays good around the rim. The Lakers picked Dalton Neck from Tennessee, who's an athletic 6'6", small forward shooting guard, who's actually a good pick. He was ranked a lot higher than what he was taking at 17. So I think they got a good pick there. The Cavs took Jalen Tyson at number 20 out of California, who's 6'6", basically they kind of took him early from where he's ranked.
Guard size.
Yeah, he's like a 3-and-D guy, kind of like Isaac Okoro. Or he's just going to stay in the corner and play some defense. But yeah, no other really big names out there. I don't know if the Warriors had picks in this draft.
They didn't, dude. They didn't have shit.
They've been getting a lot of trades and everything like that, so it doesn't look like they've drafted anybody from what I see. Not even around. Oh, Quentin Post, center out of Boston College.
The Warriors guy?
They took it in the 2nd round.
Oh shit! Okay. But
yeah, Bronny James.
A huge project. He won't see the court.
Bronny James was taken 55 overall. He's actually listed at 6'2", which is interesting.
He's small, man.
Which is because his dad's 6'8". Bryce James, who's LeBron's other son, is like already 6'6", 6'7", and he's like a freshman. So that's kind of crazy. They showed a stat of the 55 pick number 55 historical picks in the NBA draft, and nobody's turned out good.
I was just gonna say it's probably not. It's probably not very.
No, they're like he's got, it's not like he's got big shoes to fill because the highest score was like 8 points a game or something like that. So number 55, it ain't, it's not like he's got big shoes to fill. So I want to see him do well.
With the way he entered the league like that, it's almost like he has no pressure now.
Yeah.
Because like the whole LeBron's son, that could have put a lot of pressure on him to be immediately good and kind of hurt his development. But coming in at 55, where there's like almost no expectation, it almost like erases all of that weirdness. So now he can just like focus and develop and turn into the player that he might be able to be an NBA player. So
Yeah, he's
it'll be
got a good
interesting to see that play
cast.
out.
He's got a good cast there to help him grow too.
Yeah,
New head
exactly.
coach in JJ Redick. He's got all those players. AD is close with the family, so AD can help him. This is that whole team. Austin Rivers,
AD can teach him how to not shave his eyebrow and
yeah,
hurt
get
his
hurt.
ankle like 3 times
Yeah.
a week.
Yeah. Yeah, so that is basketball for the week. Moving on to our next sport, which we'll touch on really quick, but soccer's been heating up with the Euro 2024. Have you watched any soccer?
I haven't. I'll be honest. Been out of the loop with soccer.
Yeah, so they're moving into the semifinals. Spain and France moved on today. France won a thriller in penalty kicks, which was good. Spain actually beat Germany today. Spain's been on a heater, and I don't think they had a ton of expectations in Euro this year, and they've just been on a heater and haven't lost a game.
It's the Euro Cup.
Yeah. And tomorrow England plays Switzerland and Netherlands versus Turkey to advance to the semifinals of Euro.
Netherlands and Turkey, that'll be a good game.
Yeah, even England and Switzerland, it should be a good one.
That's true. Yeah.
France has just won everything in soccer lately, so yeah.
What's up with France, dude? Basketball, soccer.
Yeah.
Next thing we know, they're gonna take over football.
Yeah. Which is funny, in France, they always were historically like short people.
Yeah.
Like they're just like national average, they're short compared to other countries, and now they're producing these like 7'6" aliens.
They
come
went
out
to
of
the
it.
laboratory, started cooking up some giants.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so that's soccer in a nutshell. Copa's actually going on right now too, which is the South America Cup. The U.S. lost really quick. They're a disappointment in soccer. They need to get fucking LeBron out there.
So bad at soccer. It's like, how do we produce all these insane athletes in all these other sports, but like when it comes to soccer, we're just dog shit.
And we have one of the best players. I mean, Pulisic is awesome. He's so good, and they just can't get it done. They just fucking choke.
It's insane.
They choke big time. Yeah, so Canada actually advanced to the semifinals today. They beat Venezuela in penalties, and they're going to face Argentina.
Oh, nice.
Canada.
They're gonna get smoked by
Canada. Yeah, they're gonna get cooked. They'll get cooked.
That's gonna be a quick one. Dude,
yeah,
baseball, dog.
Moving on to baseball. The only thing I got is the Cleveland Guardians are still on a fucking roll, still on a heater. First place in the division, second in the AL. Still winning series, still pitching. Their bullpen's probably the best in baseball, again, which is similar to their 2016 run when they went to the World Series. They just had a dynamite bullpen, and all their young guys are just hitting. I mean, they just don't stop. Steven Kwan's leading the league in hitting. Jose Ramirez is still probably the best player in baseball. They're killing it.
Yeah,
they're killing
that's
it.
Cool.
They actually play the Giants this week. They're supposed to play today. They got rained out. I think they play today, tomorrow, Sunday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they might play yesterday.
In Ohio or
in Cleveland? Yeah, in Cleveland.
I was gonna say they would die of heat stroke if they played here.
Yeah, it might be a little cooler in San Francisco. I don't know.
Maybe a little. I mean, it was pretty hot today over here, and I'm not far from San Francisco.
Yeah.
But I heard the Giants had a pretty big win the other day. I think it was like Wednesday. I forget who they played, but everyone was talking about it. So, sounds like they crushed.
They played the Guards on Thursday and beat them.
Maybe it was that one.
And then let me see who they played. before that, they beat the Braves on looks like Wednesday.
Dude, everyone beats the Braves.
Yeah, the Giants are 44 and 45. They're third in the division. Obviously, the Dodgers are just unstoppable, just leading that division. They need to do.
They're the new Yankees.
They need to do something. The Giants need to do something to turn it around. I mean, right now they're fourth in the wild card standings,
Yeah, it's not looking good.
so they need to get up to the top two. They're only 3 back, so if they win some games, turn around after the All-Star break, they'll be good.
I mean, I haven't been following baseball a lot, the Giants, but I do feel like they've kind of slipped away from like a playoff team. I feel like they're almost in that little like gatekeeper, like not really a playoff team, but not really a bad team kind of scenario.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, last year they had a really good record and played really well, but I guess I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but it was like a fluke. It was like they played really well and they kind of just kept the heater going, but it was like you knew they were a bad team.
Yeah, exactly. Like I feel like they've totally lost their identity.
Yeah, it's just kind of leveled out to where, like you said, they're just middle of the pack team. They're not going to wow you. They're going to play 500 baseball.
Right, exactly.
All year. Which is tough. It's nice when the Giants are winning because it's fun. They need to bring up some fresh talent.
Yeah, they definitely. I feel like they just need to like sell off, get some draft picks, bring in some new young talent, and then just build around it.
Yeah.
Instead of just trying to resurrect this team that's just dying and getting worse every year.
Yeah, because the Dodgers are just unstoppable because they just sign billion-dollar contracts
in the world at like unlimited amount of money. They just they're handing out blank checks.
Yeah, and like you said, they're the Yankees of the National League.
Yeah, they're the modern day Yankees.
It's getting tough. It's getting tough. So moving on to 2 other topics that I want to talk about. One is we'll dive into politics just slightly.
Oh boy, here we go.
Did you watch the debate?
Hell yeah, I was hella drunk and I was laughing my ass off the whole time.
My favorite part was they started talking about golf handicaps.
Oh yeah, they were going at it, dude.
And it just so resonated with me that they were just talking shit about, Biden's like, oh, it was a 6 handicap when I was vice president. And Trump's like, no, you fucking weren't.
Yeah.
You fucking idiot.
Never been a 6 handicap in your life. And he's like, it was an 8.
Yeah.
He's like, I've seen your swing, Joe. You're not that good.
I think 2 takeaways for me. One, what a joke this place that we're at
is. It's embarrassing, dude. It really
in the country. And it's just gotten worse. Like we thought like the last go around, we're like, oh, this is such a joke. But it's just turned into be even worse. And I just don't know how people even like.
You can't even take it seriously. Like it's so bad.
I don't know how people don't say that. Like I don't know how people still stand there and just like, oh, Joe Biden's the best candidate. He's the best person. You know what I mean? It's just like the guy.
There's diehards on both sides, and I think both sides are really clueless to the fact that they're being manipulated.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man. It's really ugly right now, and I feel like it's just nothing but propaganda against propaganda.
Yeah.
These people all believe the same thing, and then on the opposite side of the spectrum, they believe the same thing about the other guy. Yeah. So it's just insane. It's like, dude, when are you guys going to wake up and realize, like, this is all just bullshit that they're shoving down your throats?
Yeah, I think on the Democratic side, they're going to probably move to Kamala Harris.
Yeah, they got to pull Joe. He's a disaster, dude. He's falling apart.
Yeah, he can't even talk.
Like, he can't put together a sentence. All of his thoughts are just nonsense. He just, like, says the same shit over and over. It's ridiculous. The poor guy needs to be in a retirement home, like eating ice cream or something.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's so clear clear as day to anybody that like he's not fit to be president. Like he can't even talk. But then there's still people on that side that are like, Biden's my guy.
His record, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
it's like, dude, his record.
Just like, dude,
what are we looking at? The inflation, the open borders. The fucking 3 wars that we have started since he was like, what do you mean? Look at his record; it's horrible. The last 4 years has been a fucking disaster.
And
The
then you
entire
got
housing market is crashing, and dude, it's ridiculous. It's terrible.
Trump, who's just like an absolute wrecking ball
He's just a
bulldog.
bully.
Yeah, that like just comes in and just, oh, this is easy, and I'm gonna do this, and he just riles people up, and the our human race, our citizens of the United States, just, I mean, they're so, like you said, easily swayed that they'll just jump on the bandwagon,
They
and
believe
if Trump,
anything, dude.
yeah, if Trump said, hey, go burn down California, people would probably start doing it. Or
Yeah.
like, hey, go start like raping and pillaging people. I mean, that's probably extreme, but you know,
But
just like something extreme like that,
yeah,
like
the
people would do
idea
it.
behind it still remains. That like they could just say these outrageous things, and people will literally just follow it blindly without any thought.
Yeah,
It's like, dude, have you like who navigates through life without actually weighing consequences of your decisions?
yeah,
Like I've never just been like, "Oh, I'm going to go do this," and like completely oblivious to what might happen.
yeah.
It's like you're jumping into a hallway with your eyes closed or something. I don't know, it's just insane. Like they've just
I will,
full like they die hard for these politicians and do everything they say without actually thinking about what they're doing
yeah.
or how ridiculous what they're being told is.
Well, even now, like I have family members that'll tell me, he'd be like, "Oh, I think like RFK Jr. is a good pick," and they'll be like, "Well, if you vote for RFK, that's basically a vote for Trump." And it's just like, so the fuck what? Like if I want to vote for somebody because I believe in them, like
But I don't
that's
even understand that logic because if anything, RFK is more conservative
yeah,
than liberal,
yeah.
and I think
Well,
if
that's
anything, it's going to be pulling away
well,
conservative people that
that's
are tired of the craziness.
that's what people are now led to believe. Like they're only voted for Biden because they think like if they vote for anybody else, it's a vote for Trump, and that's like that what the propaganda is put out there.
Well, and that's the other thing too. When you get down to the left politics, one thing I keep hearing getting repeated over and over is that like if Trump becomes president, we're gonna lose democracy. There's gonna be like all this crazy shit happen, and I'm like, hold on a second, like, do these people not realize Trump was already the president
Yeah,
and none of that shit happened?
dude, I
Like,
almost just hope he gets elected just so he can't run again. Like just so it's like it's
dude,
over,
that's what
right?
I was saying the other day. I was talking to somebody, and that was the thing I said. I was like, I'm so fucking glad, regardless of who wins this election, whether it's Biden or Trump, that it's gonna be the end of the Trump Biden saga.
Yeah,
Like regardless of which one of them wins, it's the last time either of them are running because
yeah.
like they literally physically
Biden's
can't.
yeah, Biden's gonna die, and yeah,
Yeah,
Trump.
Biden won't be alive for the next election, and Trump, I don't think he would try to run at 74 or whatever the hell he would be,
I don't know, dude. I almost feel like
or
if he
84.
doesn't win, I almost feel like he doesn't win, he's gonna run again because just the backing behind him of
He would
people.
be too old, man. He would lose. He's already. I've noticed he's kind of lost his step. He's not like he was in 2016 or 2020. He's also getting older. Like you could see it. He's slowing down a little bit.
And he's still got some firepower with the
He's
mouth,
got
though.
firepower. He's got a hell of a lot more than Biden. Like that's for damn
Yeah.
sure. Like if it came down to it right now and I had to choose A or B, like Trump 100%. It's not even close.
Yeah.
Like it's just ridiculous to even compare the two. But do I wish that there was a different option? Absolutely. That shit
Yeah, I
is
think
just crazy.
we got. I mean, we've been saying it for a while. We got to get away from the two-party system. We got to just. I mean, it's such a joke. I mean,
It's bad.
think about if the Democratic or Republican Party just put anybody else out there. I mean, just put anybody else out there.
Well,
That
that's what's
has like.
annoying is like I really liked Vivek.
Mm,
Vivek Ramaswamy. I thought he's very well spoken. He's young. He's like 36, super young. Like he just understands the world better than these people. He's well spoken. He makes good points. You know, he obviously he's a little bit more conservative. He's running as a Republican, but like how come we don't choose someone like that? Like how come we're going with Trump again, who we know that that's just going to rile up people on the left and it's just going to create chaos in the streets if he wins.
yeah, yeah. That's a good unanswered question. It's like why? Why do they keep selecting Trump with their
Right.
Like, is it because they know he's already got a backing and it's just easy?
I mean, I know he does have a huge following. A lot of people like him,
Mm,
and I don't hate him. I do think his policies are really good. Like the stuff he does, the way he manages the country, strategically, the way he deals with other countries. He's a good leader in that sense, but he's so bad when it comes to diplomacy within our own country.
yeah, he just
Like
riles people up, and
yeah, like at some
people
point
can't
you have to
handle
be
it.
diplomatic with your own people,
Yeah,
and it's
people
just
can't handle it.
absolute. It's the opposite of diplomacy with our own people. It's
Yeah.
war.
Mm. Yeah, people can't handle it. Like
Yeah,
Trump is who he is. Like he can handle it. Like if he came over my house right now, like he'd probably be a really good person, right?
yeah,
He wouldn't bring like all that stuff with him. He'd probably be really courteous. Whereas other people, like if they go to a Trump rally and then they go somewhere else, they're ready to start a fight and talk about how he's the best president of all time.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's just people. That's just riling up. People are easily riled up, and
Just brain dead people, dude. No one
yeah,
thinking about anything.
yeah, it drives me crazy.
It's really frustrating.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting moving forward what happens. I mean, they're already calling for Biden to stop running.
He needs to. It's pathetic, dude. It's like,
Yeah,
who are you fooling? I mean, actually, he is fooling some people, but
yeah,
anyone with like 3 brain cells can tell you that that guy's not fit to run as president. It's just ridiculous.
yeah. So the clown show will continue all the way to November, and we'll see what happens. I think Trump's gonna get elected though.
I do too, and I'm almost worried about it because I just don't know if the left can handle that.
Yeah.
I think they're typically a little bit more emotional thinkers.
Mm.
Conservatives are a little bit more like autistically just like not emotional with their thought. Very strategic, just like numbers are numbers type of things. Whereas, the people on the left are a little bit more about social stuff and just like more like emotional ideas and thoughts. And so I think that's part of the reason why when a Republican wins, they get like pretty riled up. I think it's just their nature. They're emotional thinkers, and so Trump is the worst type of person for those type of people.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, I think like conservatives are more brash in what they're going to do versus like the liberal side of things is they'll talk a big game and they won't actually do anything.
Yeah, it's just a big storm.
Yeah,
It's like a perfect storm.
yeah, I think the conservative side would actually do a lot more if Biden was elected. Well, I guess he was elected this time, but I think they'd cause a bigger stir than the liberals just kind of crying in the streets.
Right.
Supposed to actually do anything.
On
Yeah.
your knees, screaming bloody murder, the world is ending type of shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's not necessary.
Yeah.
Like, he's gonna be gone in 4 years. You're not even gonna notice any changes.
Yeah.
Like
4
life
years.
goes on. We all gotta go to work tomorrow.
You're done with him. Probably a good thing in the end because it's gonna out the political system. Hopefully, people start paying attention. Realize that somebody with felony counts or whatever can be elected president. I mean,
even though those are phony felonies.
Oh, totally phony.
Yeah.
What's funny is people
nonsense.
What's funny is people are like, "Oh, he's a felon," blah blah blah. It's like, oh, dude, if he was a felon, he'd be in jail right now.
Right.
Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like, if that was that serious, he wouldn't be on a stage debating.
And you know damn well that those are not going to get through the Court of Appeals.
No.
It's going to get turned over so fucking quickly. They're going to be like, why are we even here?
Mm.
Just throw that shit in the garbage. It's nonsense. We all knew it was fake. It's just a political move to smear campaign. It is what it is.
Yeah. So, getting outside of politics, which is just a clown show at this point. Wanted to touch on, sounds like somebody else asked about it earlier, touching on crypto news. Big crypto news is Bitcoin has gone down pretty considerably in the last couple days, hitting a 4-month low. I think it went back up in the last
It's kind of been pumping
24
down,
hours, but
cooling off. But a lot of people I follow in the crypto industry are saying that this isn't the crash. This isn't the end of this bull cycle.
No.
This is just a cooling off period. This is a reaccumulation phase. Um, and there's a lot of big manipulation from the hedge funds and stuff right now going on because there's a lot of talks about a merger with the banks and the U.S. creating their own digital currency and stuff like that. So there's a lot of bigger players in the game this bull run, so we got to be careful because there's going to be a lot more manipulation. And we see it in the stock market. The retailers never win, and so soon it's going to be the same for crypto. Just don't be fooled. Play the long game. If you got in 2017 or 2020, whenever you bought in, you're still super early, and I think there's got to be at least 10x on most of those projects. So I'm holding tight, man. Diamond hands over here.
Yeah, I still got Bitcoin and Ethereum. I've actually sold all of my crypto just to buy Bitcoin and Ethereum, and just holding on to that.
Big boys.
Yeah, just holding on to that. I mean, they're just so much more stable than anything else.
Yeah, when you get those, you don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah,
you just know it's going to be fine. It's going to work.
Yeah, and obviously you get dips like this, but I'm still in a good position compared to where I bought it at. So
yeah, exactly.
I'm not too worried about it. Yeah, I don't. It's weird because even the stock market right now is I almost feel like the crypto market is more reliable than the stock market right now.
Stock market's ugly, man. And I feel like both I think the housing market, the stock market, and the crypto market are all kind of waiting for the election to end.
Yeah.
Before stuff starts really making moves. Because have you noticed the last 6 months they've been really stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
Crypto was in a bull run and it just kind of plateaued and could not keep climbing, and then now it's kind of cooling off. I felt like the same thing with the stock market. I was really getting into the stock market for a little bit, and I just kind of noticed the same pattern. And then with the housing market, it's just absolutely plateaued. Nothing is happening. It is just a murky puddle of mosquito water.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's got to be a reason for it. And the only thing I could put together is that it's an election year, and shit's gonna change drastically depending on who wins. So I think that's kind of what's holding everything back right now.
Yeah, I've kind of moved to just mutual funds for money and high yield savings accounts. That's it.
Yeah.
And then
playing the smart, slow game.
I have Bitcoin because it's so tough with stocks.
Yeah, if you're gonna day trade, it takes so much effort.
Well, it takes effort, and it's still just it's still volatile. I mean, it's just you buy something because you think you could see all the writing on the wall, and then the fucking stock tanks.
Yep. That's the game, man. The retailers never win. No matter how much information and whatever you got going on, you're going to be wrong.
Yeah.
So you're right. The best way to do it is just go for those fucking hedge or the mutual funds. Open up a Roth IRA if that's what you want to do. Do an S&P 500. If you want to just gain money, that's the way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting there trying to win the lottery on these stocks is just never going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. No way.
It's just gambling. That's all it is.
It is. Yeah. 100%. So we'll move on from that jargon to our question of the week, and since there's no NFL news, figured we'd move into probably our weekly run on NFL takes. We're exactly 2 months from the season starting. Season starts on September 5th when the Ravens take on the Chiefs. So my question this week is, name your top 10 NFL teams going into the new year.
I got my list. Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
I'll go first. I'll start it off. So I'll start at 10 and move down to 1. I obviously have my homer pick in here, probably way too high, but I have a lot of faith this year. So starting off at number 10, I actually have the New York Jets.
Ooh, okay.
Which 10 is probably high for a lot of people for the Jets, but I see a healthy Aaron Rodgers. That defense is crazy. They were a good team last year. They had
Yeah, they
Zach
have a lot of
Wilson.
weapons.
Garrett Wilson on the outside. They picked up some pieces in the offseason. I think they're going to be good, and that division is sad. I think they
Yeah,
could beat the Dolphins. Obviously, the Patriots suck. The Bills are, obviously the Bills are tough, but I think they can get a wild card spot and be up there with everybody. At number 9, I have the Aaron Rodgers' old team, the Packers. Jordan Love showed me a lot in the playoffs last year, beating the Cowboys, and then playing well against. Did they lose to the Niners
they did.
again? Yeah, they played well against the Niners. Jordan Love kind of had it. They just got to put the pieces around him. I think he has a full off season after playing like that. I mean, he's the next Aaron Rodgers. So I could see them going far at number 9. At number 8, I have the Buffalo Bills. Although they lost Stephon Diggs, they still got some good wide receivers, and they still have a good team. They still have Josh Allen. So I think Buffalo Bills at number 8. Philadelphia Eagles at number 7. I think they'll do some damage. Again, they still have a
Saquon.
good team. Yeah, Saquon Barkley is just an absolutely ridiculous ad for that team.
Yeah, that's such a big ad.
The defense still plays well. They lost Jason Kelsey, but their offensive line is just incredible. At number 6, I have the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens added Derrick Henry in the offseason. They're just, considerably good. They always had good defensive players because they're, all those like rough,
Such a good coach.
tough-nosed defensive players always want to go to Baltimore. I fucking hate the Ravens,
But they're
but I think
nasty.
they're a good
nasty.
team. Number 6, number 5, I have the Lions. The Lions had an incredible season. Probably should have beat the Niners in the NFC Championship and
Settle
choke.
down.
They were up. I mean, they were up what,
Weak dog.
20 at halftime. The Lions are good, tough nosed team. Got the experience. I think they'll do well this year. At number
Still the Jared
4,
Goff factor though.
yeah. At number 4, this is also a division pick. I have the Cincinnati Bengals. Just because I'm propping up our division. But I think the Bengals they made 2 AFC championships in a row, and they went to the Super Bowl. And if you get a healthy Joe Burrow, you got a healthy Jamar Chase, you got a somewhat decent defense, the Bengals are dangerous. At number 3, I have my hometown Cleveland Browns. They got to perform this year. That's it.
This is it. This is the year.
This is it.
Either do it or shut up.
Deshaun Watson has to step up. He can't get hurt. No excuses. Nick Chubb's probably going to come back probably week 4. Defense got better. They just got to do it. Their defense last year was just insane. If they can get any sort of offense, they did it with Joe Flacco last year. They added Jerry Jeudy in the offseason. You got to do it. I almost put him at number 1 just to put that much effort into him, but I think it's kind of painful to do it.
Deshaun's
put it number 1.
Big time, man.
Yeah, Deshaun's got to be back to where he was with Houston. At number 2, I have the 49ers. Historically, they're just good. They're the best team talent-wise probably in the NFL, top to bottom. They just have some players.
Everywhere.
If they keep Ayuk, if they keep Debo, they're just good. They're going to be at it again. They're going to run that division. No chance for anybody else in that division. And then number 1 is the Chiefs. You can't really argue with that. They've won 2 Super Bowls in a row. Bringing back the same team. They made some off-season acquisitions. Can't really take them off that if they don't get beat.
Fuck the Chiefs.
Yeah, fuck the Chiefs, but got to put them at number 1. So that's my 10-1.
I noticed we had a couple teams in the same spots.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we did. So, starting at number 10, I have the New York Jets.
Oh shit! I thought that was an absolute like left field pick
That
with
was
the
kind
Jets
of
at
my
10.
dark horse left field pick as well. And I do think that they sneak into the top 10. Now that 100% relies on Aaron Rodgers being healthy.
Yeah.
So if Aaron Rodgers stays healthy, they're top 10. If he's hurt or re-injured or whatever, they're not making the top 10. They'll be in the 12 to 15 range. And that's if they can get another backup quarterback. But that team is pretty loaded.
I will say probably neither of us have the Cowboys in the top 10.
No, absolutely not.
No, like,
They're a joke.
we're realists. They're such a joke.
They're fucking terrible. At number 9, I have the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, okay.
That team just has unbelievable talent everywhere. I mean, their wide receivers are probably the best duo in the league. Um, they've got good running backs. Tua's not great, but he's good. He's good enough to man that offense. And their defense is really good. So I don't think they're elite. So I'm not putting them in the top 5, but I do think that they're definitely in the top 10. And I just have them squeaking, just slightly better than the Jets. And number 8, I have the Buffalo Bills. I think they slide a little bit this year because obviously they lost Stephon Diggs. We'll see how that offense looks without him. But they're such a solid team. They're so well balanced, and Josh Allen is just an absolute beast. So I think he's just going to muscle his way into that top 10. At the bottom half of it, so I have them at number 8. At number 7, I have the Green Bay Packers.
Oh,
And,
wow.
yeah, just like you said, I mean, we saw it in the playoffs. Jordan Love is just absolutely a freak. He carried that team on his back. I mean, that team, their roster isn't great. It's not like, elite roster top to bottom, but Jordan Love is definitely an X factor. And I see them being number 7. Number 6, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. They've been a really good team the last 5 years. And I think adding Saquon is a really, that's a huge missing puzzle piece that they just filled. So I think that offense is going to be a little nasty this year. And their defense, it's pretty vicious. They drafted a couple really good cornerbacks to help out in their backfield, which was kind of their weakness. So I think the Eagles are going to have a resurgence, and they're going to be at number 6. Number 5, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. I think their roster is dog shit. Their team sucks. The only reason why they're ever in the playoffs is because of Patrick Mahomes. He can't carry the team on his back forever. He'll put them in the top 5, but barely. So I'm putting them at number 5. Fuck the Chiefs. Number 4, I have the Detroit Lions.
Okay.
That team is really good. They're super talented and young. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jared Goff's looking pretty good. They've got really good running backs. I think that the Lions are going to be pretty good this year. Number 3, and this is where we get crazy.
Texans.
The Houston Texans.
I knew that was coming.
Dude, the Houston Texans their roster is insane.
They are.
It is so fucking good. And DeMeco Ryans is an amazing coach. I think that has that's a bigger deal than people realize. But yeah, I have the Houston Texans at 3. I think they're going to be a really good team. They're going to be really hard to beat this year.
Well, it's
And
wild. They
added
picked
Stephon
up
Diggs to an already lethal offense.
not only Stephon Diggs, they added Joe Mixon too.
And Joe Mixon, that's right. And they didn't have any running backs last year. They had dog shit for running backs.
And then there's another add too, but it's wild that I didn't put it in the top 10. The reason I didn't put it in the top 10 because I'm salty to beat the Browns in the playoffs. But they also picked up Daniil Hunter from the Vikings, who's an outstanding DN.
He's such a beast. He's so good.
Put him on the opposite side of Will Anderson, and that's tough.
So I'm gonna break your heart here. Number 2, I have the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay.
I think that team is just vicious. Like you said, they just have like those hard-nosed, rough, really hard to beat players. And then they have, X Factor Lamar. Is he going to run? Is he going to throw 80 yards? You never know. He's a freak. He's a special athlete. And then on top of that, their biggest weakness has always been their running backs. They went and added fucking Derrick Henry. So that team is just going to be absolutely gross this year. I think they're going to be really
I
hard to beat, and they're in the best division in football, which is unfortunate for the Browns because I think it's going to hurt them a lot. I think the Browns, if they were in any other division, would be a dominant team. They would crush almost any other division.
I
But
don't think Derrick Henry's good anymore. I'll say that.
I don't know,
I
man.
think
I think he's still got some gas in the tank. He was on a terrible team. I mean, the Titans are horrible. So I don't know. Going to a team like the Ravens and the talent he's got, I think they're going to be good. I put Cleveland at number 2 in that division, but it's going to be tough for them to fight for that number 2 spot between them and Cincinnati. Um, it's going to be a question of, is Deshaun Watson going to play well? Is Nick Chubb going to be healthy? Versus, can Joe Burrow stay healthy for more than 2 games? In whatever outcome of that we get, that team is going to take the number 2 spot. But I think, that division being so good is going to hurt most of those teams. I don't see, I don't see Cincinnati beating the Ravens in Cleveland, twice. I don't see Cleveland beating the Ravens or Cincinnati twice.
yeah,
So I
that's
think it's really
typically
going to
the
hurt
story.
them,
Yeah,
overall. And I think that's
but
why, I didn't put Cincinnati or the Browns in the top 10. I think they're just in such a vicious division that it's going to hurt them a little bit. So
that's typically
I
the
have Baltimore coming out on top of that division.
and that's typically the story for that division. It's just they beat up on each other.
Exactly. They just beat the shit out of each other, and then they're just left limping for the rest of the league.
Mm.
Um, but I do have the Browns and Cincinnati, as a bubble team. 11 and 12, kind of right there. Um, and then obviously number 1 is the 49ers. Let's be honest, they're the best team in the league. They have the most loaded roster maybe in football history. It's ridiculous. They've only got better over the offseason. So, I mean, they were the best team last year. I think they're the best team this year coming into it. They added some huge pieces. I fully believe that we're going to sign Ayuk. I don't even think it's a question. It's the same story as what happened with Debo. They're going to play this game back and forth, and then he's going to miss training camp, and then all of a sudden they're going to sign the deal, and he's going to be there for week 1. Not a big deal. He's going to be there. But, we have McCaffrey, Kittle, Fred Warner. I think we're going to see Purdy take a different level, take a step in his development and see a new Purdy that we haven't seen yet. So the Niners are the number 1 team, and I think this is our last year to win the Super Bowl because I don't know if we're going to be the number 1 team next year. We're going to lose a lot of pieces in the offseason next
Yeah,
year.
hopefully they stay healthy too. I mean, you keep Hufanga healthy. Just stay healthy.
Well, that's what's
That's
crazy.
huge
We
for
have
them.
so many good players that, even if a couple of them get hurt, we have backups that are really fucking good.
Mm.
So, yeah, we just got to do it this year. We have the best roster. Everyone's supposedly coming into the year healthy. If they can keep it that way, it's going to be awesome. But there's also, if the Niners lose Fred Warner, that's going to hurt us. I don't know if we could replace him. If they lose Nick Bosa, that's going to hurt us. Or even Trent Williams. There's a handful of players that if one of them goes down, the whole team falls. So, but I'm gonna stay positive on this one. We're gonna stay healthy. We're gonna go in and we're gonna win the Super Bowl this year. Cleveland.
Okay, good list. I think in the Browns division it's tough too because even the Steelers got better.
Exactly. The Steelers are no joke.
So the whole division is going to beat up on each other. The Niners division is honestly Seattle. Seattle really got better. Has Arizona. They added Marvin Harrison. The Rams are the Rams. Yeah, they're good, but the Niners just own them.
That's the thing is the Niners are going to get so many easy wins in their division. It's just going to boost their numbers. It's going to make it easier for them to get that number 1 spot.
Yeah, I think the Browns have the toughest division or toughest schedule this year.
Yeah.
as far as like win percentage from last year, which is also going to be tough.
Yeah,
Um,
it's going to be really tough for the Browns this year. I feel bad because their roster is really fucking good. And like I said, if they were in another division or just had an easier schedule, you know, they would definitely be in that top 10, but because of where they're at, it's tough, man. They have a fucking uphill battle, which is the story of your life.
yeah, which they can do it. I
Never
mean,
catch a break.
honestly, they won games last year that it was just like, holy shit, we should have no business winning this game. And they did it with, just because they played their game.
They did it with
They
Jerome Ford.
did it with Jerome Ford and Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't see any difference with this next year, except you got Deshaun Watson and you got Jared Judy and you got Nick Chubb coming back at the best offensive line of football. You got to do it. You got to do it, or you got to blow it up.
Yeah, that's where they're at. This is really a make it or break it year. It's funny too because it's kind of the same with the Niners. Like if the Niners don't do it this year, that's it. You know, we're not going to re-sign Trent Williams. I think there's a couple guys on the defense that are going to be due for big contracts. So it's and Kittle's getting old. It's really just like a make it or break it year for the Niners too.
Yeah, the Niners don't have an easy schedule either. I mean, Jets, Rams, Chiefs, Cowboys, Buccaneers, Packers, Bills, Dolphins, Lions. I mean, all on their schedule.
So basically, what you're saying is we're starting near 10-0.
Well, that's I'm just picking out teams that are tough.
Kidding.
The other Arizona's and Seattle's. I mean, those are W's, but yeah, it's kind of a tough schedule too. The NFL's so loaded now; it's tough. Tough to win.
Pretty well balanced league now. Yeah, there's a lot of good teams.
Yeah, so that'll do it for
that wraps
episode
it up
4.
for this week.
Have a safe 4th of July. Tune in every week for our analysis, takes, and banter. Check out Twitter, YouTube, podcast channels. Thanks for tuning in.
See y'all next week.